AJ Pasagian's Managing Director at KPMG. It's great to see you, AJ. Thanks for joining me today. A lot of discussion here about the importance of collaboration between government and industry, and I'm not just hearing it from the industry folks. The government people that I'm talking to are saying the same thing. What have you seen as the most successful components of good collaboration on both sides of that equation?
I think two things. One is establish relationships, and those relationships foster that collaboration for sure. Number two, I think, is a recognition that we've got the acquisition authorities nowadays that take advantage of competition in the prototyping phase. So discovering our risk early, clearing that risk is done better when you do it earlier in the process. So developing a weapon system, or any system for that matter.
I'll come back to the relationship piece later in the conversation, but the prototyping is really become much more prominent in the department over the last 2-3 years in particular, but 5 to 10 years longer running. What's driving that, and what drives success in that? Success isn't necessarily measured either, I imagine, in the prototyping phase with the thing works. Sometimes the thing doesn't work is a success. Is that fair to say?
That's very true. And I think that, building on success is important. So prototyping means to me, successful prototyping involves building on success. So that means hot production lines. When you're building a component to a greater system, you're looking for proven success with subcomponents. So when you piece them together, you've got a system that's more mature. It's been designed with rigor, and you're wringing out that risk, system performance, before you get into any specific operational evaluations and hands-on with the user out in the field. So I think doing that earlier in the process is better. When you can do that in a competitive environment, you're bringing the best that the industry has to offer simultaneously. That's really fantastic. Now, I'm probably getting rid of at least one source selection period. I'm eliminating it all. Sometimes that means 12 to 18 months savings. And if you do that with a teammate upfront and early, where you have those open relationships and collaboration, now you're really cooking with gas.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about that risk shift that you mentioned a moment ago, that's not just a risk shift, that's kind of a mindset shift or a culture shift for an organization like the department. How have you seen them take up the gauntlet in that and be willing to be flexible in the way that they think about doing things? This is going to require us to operate in a different manner, not just to do things in a different order.
I left the Marine Corps in 2022 is when I retired. With Force Design, we were heavily into it at the time. We did an awful lot of competitive prototyping to quickly advance capabilities and get them into the hands of Marines. What I've learned in industry is we now have a understanding through the Department of War that collaboration through commercial solutions is actually being incentivized. It's, Secretary Hegseth issued a memorandum in March of last year, in March of 2025, that advocated for maximizing exactly that technique. So when you've got the head of the department pushing industry and I think the Department of War in large to take advantage of that, leverage those techniques, you're doing everything you can to inspire its use. That's smart.
I want to go back to the relationships piece that you mentioned as our final point of conversation, AJ. When you refer to relationships, I think of trust immediately as a foundational component to any relationship.
Right.
Is that relationship concept the same in a vendor government relationship as it is in a person to person, company to company, any other relationship in the world?
My response, boy, it's a people business. So yes, yeah, I mean, because the commonality there is, people across the board. The other issue is you're using techniques that maximize that trust. And as we know, trust builds speed. Speed is trust. OTAs, for example, are a technique that maximize the communication between government and industry. I mean, they're a really unique way of pushing the envelope of those relationships specifically. So I think you're just harnessing the power in that people-to-people conversation, and that's going to bring you speed. It's going to bring you a better understanding between the contracting officer, the program manager, and your industry, partner as a whole. I think that'll be more is better when we do more of that.